here, guys. Quick question. You ever realize how, like, the more someone tells you how much they love the American flag, like, the more convinced you are they own a Confederate one? It's like every guy now, he doesn't tell you how much he loves his wife. It's like, buddy, we get it. You cheated. Like, that is very clear. I had a problem with that flag last year. I always have a problem with it, to be clear, you know. But last year, you guys remember down the street there was that revolution? Last January? You guys remember there's a very famous photo that came out during said revolution of this guy carrying the Confederate flag into the Capitol building, right? It was on the cover of every major publication in the globe, around the globe. And I don't know, do you guys know what do you know his name was, that guy? His name was Kevin Seefried. It's important to know. He was a terrorist. Do you remember about 12 seconds ago when Phil brought me up here what my name is? Yeah, it's Kevin Seefried. This dude has ruined the internet for me. If you like my stand-up, tough luck. You can never find it again. If you look me up, you'll be on a watch list. I swear, if you put my name into a search engine, it's just like Confederate flag, Confederate flag. Even Google is just like, did you mean to contact the FBI? It's like when it happened, I was unemployed at the time. So then I just stayed unemployed. Okay, this is true. I sent out 15 cover letters on January 5th. Do you know what it's like to have to write a follow-up? It's like, hey, I just want to take back everything I said about showing initiative. I've been at home all day. It sucked. Now my friends were jerks about it. My friends were like, you're never going to be able to fly again, dude. You're going to be on the no-fly list. You're never going to be able to fly again. And I was like, okay, that's fair, you know. But there's got to be some good stuff, too, right? Like, I'm also never going to have to pay for another meal at Cracker Barrel. So let's turn those lemons into sweet tea, okay? Let's go! It wasn't all bad last year, though. It was a good year overall. You got engaged, huh? Lots of married folks for this show. Thank you. You got engaged. She's not changing her name because of the last joke. And, thank you. I don't know, man. I didn't know how much the ring was supposed to be. That's an insane thing. Did you know how much engagement rings are supposed to be? 20%, yeah. The sadness that came over his eyes. And it said 20% of the money you bring in a year. It's like, that is why we have a wage gap, man, right? Come back in. Somebody call AOC right now. 20% of the money you bring in a year. I love my fiance, but I wasn't going to be able to survive on just 80% of what I borrow from her. Like, that is not a lot of money. She's a teacher. Her last paycheck was an apple. So, I don't know, man. I love this girl. She can be mean sometimes, but she's like very good at being mean unintentionally. Like the other day, I was at home and I was watching Criminal Minds. You ever watch those serial killer shows? Yeah. You watch them for like ideas, you know. And she came home. She sees I'm watching the show. She turns off the TV. She looks at me and she goes, "Hey, Kev, you gotta stop watching all these shows about serial killers. I'm starting to worry you're gonna become a serial killer." That's mean, right? Can you agree that's a mean thing to say? Because I also watch a lot of sports. She's never come home and be like, "I'm worried you're gonna become hot." Like that is. I don't know. I'm very not confident with like my body, my ability to please her. You know, in the old bedroom. You know what I'm talking about? This chick, I feel like you got confidence, man. You got like good style. Like when you're done smooching somebody, do you need like approval, or do you like you know you did a good job? He says, I feel, all right, I wish I had that kind of confidence, man. Yeah, I asked somebody in the crowd the other day, and this guy, without even looking at his wife, goes, "I did a good job," and she goes, I don't know, man, I don't have that. I don't have, like, as soon as I finish, let's be honest, I just turned to like a teller from Wells Fargo. I'm just like, "Are you satisfied with your service today?" She's like, "Actually, can I see a manager?" A hotter manager. I don't know, man. She doesn't like when I watch shows that are like, you know, serial killer shows or whatever. But the thing she really hates, the thing that makes her most upset, is if she walks into the house and sees that I'm watching a show she does like without her. She sees that as the highest form of betrayal. If you cross your arms like we're currently in a fight about it. That's what, do you guys fight about that? Yeah, do you call it Netflix cheating? That's what my fiance calls it. She calls it Netflix cheating. That's like a strong term, right? Yeah. Alright, so for anybody who doesn't know, so Netflix cheating, basically Netflix cheating is where normally you wait for your partner to watch a TV show, right? That's what Netflix cheating is. Normally you wait to finish a show with your partner. And then Netflix cheating is where you watch the show without them interrupting the whole goddamn time. It's where you just get to enjoy and follow the plot. Right? You know, somebody every 5 minutes is like, oh, where do you know the actress from? The last scene! It's Jennifer Aniston! I don't know, man. She gets mad at me about that. We got really in a big fight about it recently, and I didn't know what to do. We don't fight that much. I don't know, do you guys fight a lot, or you guys seem like you got like a cool, laid-back vibe? He's looking at her like, am I allowed to say?
We do, but we're not a couple.
Let me tell you, it can feel like that when you are. Okay, so here's the thing, man, is like, that's cool, that's great, okay? That's great to not be a couple and fight, because it doesn't ruin your whole fucking life. When I get in a fight with her, I don't have anywhere to go. I have to just go and like ask friends for advice. They don't know what they're doing. I ask my other buddy for advice, because he's also in a long-term relationship, right? But he's in a different thing. He's in an open relationship, you know what that is? Open relationship is where you're in a relationship with somebody but you don't love each other. And so I asked him for advice thinking surely he would be on my side. And he goes, oh, dude, you watched the TV show without her? Not cool. He goes, dude, watching a season of television with someone like that's a shared intimate experience you have to go through as a couple, as a unit, right? You experience the emotional hills and valleys of the characters over the arc of the season. If you go off and you experience it on your own, when you come back, your reactions are going to be fake. They're going to feel false. They're going to be inauthentic. It's going to make her feel like you don't value her. You don't see her as being important to your future or your life or your viewing experience. And I was like, you fuck other people! That's fine, but afterwards she grabs the remote and you're like, well, I'm flattered, but I actually have a girlfriend, okay? I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on anybody else's relationship. I couldn't do the open thing. I don't know. Jealousy is too big a deal in my relationship. It already plays like way too big a role. You know what I'm talking about? Because I'm out here doing stand-up every night. I'm out at bars every night. I'm around people. And so what happens is, you know, sometimes other women, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, other women will flirt with me. And my fiance does not believe that happens. It's like, fuck, just pretend! Right, what is it? Women can fake orgasms, but you can't fake thinking another one would? That's all I'm saying. I just want her to believe in me. I don't know. Because here's the thing, I feel like there's a lot of guys who have like a hall pass fantasy, you know what I mean? Where it's like, they could be like, you know, one night, if I like run into Nancy Pelosi or whatever, I can you gotta be attainable, you know? I don't have that face. I've never been into the hall pass thing. I truly believe I found the woman, you know? But I do have this one kind of like naughty fantasy, right? Which is where I take another girl out. It doesn't matter to me who the girl is, okay? I just want to take another girl out. I take her to dinner, I go to a movie, I walk her back to her house, and as we're like on the front step, right? Like right at the door of her apartment, I start to go in for that goodnight kiss. You know what I'm talking about. I start to go in for it, and as soon as I see that she's also going back in for it, I just duck out and take out my phone that was on FaceTime the whole time, and I'm like, see babe, I still got it! She's like, that's clearly a broken woman. Well, maybe I have a type. Okay. She's not a broken woman, you know, but she's a teacher, so the same thing. I don't know. People do it that. I've never met a teacher. I'm not being mean to them. I'm just like everyone else is. Right? I don't know if you've ever met teachers. Is anybody here a teacher? Is anybody like super sad? I don't know. Here's the thing, man. I love my fiance so much, and it's tough because she's a teacher, and all I want is for her to be happy. I want her to have this great life. I want to see her succeed. I want everything to go well for her. That's all I care about in the world, you know? But she teaches, so she's not happy. Is it bad life? I was choking on an ice cube. I don't know, man. That's what happens. She goes and she just has terrible things happen to her at school every day because the education system is a mess, right? And I just have to watch it unfold. I have to watch the horrible things happen to the person I care most about in the world. And I can't do anything. It's debilitating, you know? I wish I could help. Sometimes I feel like dating a teacher, like being in a relationship with a teacher, it's sort of like, it's like being a fan of a team that struggles at the sport they play. Do you know what I mean? Because you just want them to win. But they don't. Ever. So you gotta make the most out of any little victory. Like I grew up in Denver, Colorado, so as a kid I was a fan of the Colorado Rockies, their baseball team. kind of. And I know I'm wearing a Brewers hat. This is just cultural appropriation. But so as a kid, I was a fan of the Colorado Rockies, and every year during my childhood, they were the worst team in the league. Okay, every single year until my sophomore year of high school, they won 14 of the final 15 games of the season. I created a sudden death, one-game plan against the San Diego Padres at home, Coors Field in Denver. If the Rockies won that game, it would be the first time in franchise history we'd ever gone to the playoffs. I'm crazy excited about it. I'm sitting at home watching the game. I'm in my room alone. I never had a lot of friends, okay? So I'm watching the game. It's a tight game all the way through, back and forth, back and forth. After 9 innings, it's still tied. We go to extra innings, bonus baseball. You know what I'm talking about. We have the top of the 13th inning, the Padres, the bad guys. They score 2 runs. They take the lead. They bring Trevor Hoffman, second most accomplished reliever of all time. There's next to no chance my Rockies going to win the game. I'm starting to cry. Still in my room. Still done. Okay. Finally, in the bottom of the 13th inning, by some miracle, some stroke of God, the Rockies tie it up. We get runners at first and third, and Jamie Carroll's at the bat, so he hits a fly ball to right field. The right fielder, Brian Giles, he camps out under it. Matt Holliday tags at third. Giles makes the catch. Holliday sprints to the plate. The throw comes in. The catcher, Michael Barrett, drops the ball. Holliday slides. He's safe. The Rockies win. We're going to the playoffs. I can't believe it. I'm jumping up and down. Like that feeling, that happiness, that joy, that like ecstasy. Dude, that is how I feel when I ask my fiance how her day was, and she says, can't complain. You know what I mean? I just pick up a bag of Gatorade, pour it on her head. Let's go! I don't know, man. I love baseball. Phil was talking about baseball a little bit earlier. I love baseball. I watch a lot of baseball with my fiance now. It's been cool because I've gotten her like interested in the game. Like over the last few years, while I was dating, she's gotten me invested in like the players and the teams, and it's been fun to watch because it reminds me of when I first got interested in the game as a kid, right? Like when I was a kid, you could name any player in Major League Baseball, and I could tell you their batting average like that. And now with my fiance, you can name any player in Major League Baseball, and she could tell you their exact opinions on the 2020 presidential election. Yeah, like she can't tell you if someone's a lefty or a righty, but she can tell you if they're a lefty or a domestic terrorist. She's got that down pat. And that is, by the way, that's how she determines who she's going to root for. It has nothing to do with teams or anything. She will not root for anyone she disagrees with politically. It doesn't matter like what team they're on. It doesn't matter how big of a moment in the game it is. If someone steps into the batter's box, she like doesn't believe in universal health care or whatever, she will take off her jersey, put on a Bernie Sanders t-shirt, start waving around like an Elizabeth Warren flag. She'll put the game on mute and just start phone banking for Cory Booker. It's crazy, dude. It's like, I feel like watching a baseball game with my fiance, it's like going to McDonald's with somebody who just saw a documentary about how they make chicken nuggets. It's like, oh, you're going to ruin it. Okay. I don't know. I don't get it, man. Because it's weird. I have the same political beliefs as her, you know, but I don't understand. She won't tolerate anyone who disagrees with her on stuff, which is difficult for me, man, because I don't mind people, like, I don't mind if someone has a different view. I think it's important to have, like, conversations, you know. But I don't like, what I really can't stand is, you ever meet somebody who has the exact same political views as you, but they're, like, a little annoying about it? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're right, but shut up. Like, I'm an atheist, but every time I meet other atheists, I'm like, there's got to be a God. I'm clearly being punished right now. I don't know. I think it's important with politics, man. I think it's important to try and understand where other people come from. It doesn't matter how much you disagree with them. It's important to try and understand what their biases are, what your biases are, how we have those in common at the core of our belief systems, you know? Like, you guys remember a few years ago, everybody got really mad at all those football players because they were protesting murder by kneeling during a song, the national jingle or whatever. Everyone was mad, and the core root of the belief, right? Everyone was upset because they were doing something different than everyone else during a song. That's what people were upset about. And I did not understand it. I was like, why do you care what someone else is doing during a song? It truly baffled me. I was like, it doesn't matter. How is it affecting you what someone else is doing? It shouldn't have an impact on you what somebody else is doing during a song. You shouldn't care. You shouldn't care what someone else is doing during a song. I didn't think I'd ever be able to understand it, but I've been trying to, right? And what happened was a few weeks after the football season, I went to my brother's wedding, and I just saw two people free dancing to the cha-cha slide. And I was like, they're defending our nation! He said cha-cha real smooth, not make this all about you, okay? They sacrificed their singlehood! I don't know, man. Politics is tricky. tricky, dude. It comes up whenever you talk about history. I used to live in New York City before I gave up, and when I lived in New York, I worked as a tour guide during the day, so I would just like lie to people for a living. I don't know. Do you guys know that the Empire State Building was actually built by the Statue of Liberty? And it's come up with fun facts like that. But what I found out is people don't mind if you lie about like big stuff. People don't like it when you tell them the truth about history. People do not like finding out stuff they did not know about the past. And I had one guy one time on a tour who got so mad at me, in the middle of the tour, he just stopped me and he goes, "What's next, dude?" What are we going to do next? What's now? We're just going to take Thomas Jefferson out of the textbooks? That's what we're going to do, because he was a slave owner. We're going to take him out of the textbooks? Oh, we're going to take him off of Mount Everest? You thought Mount Rushmore was called Mount Everest? Like, first off, I don't think anyone's ever suggested that, right? Nobody wants to take Thomas Jefferson out of the textbooks. That's insane. We just want to add in the info that got left out the first time. Right? So now instead of saying like Thomas Jefferson was a founding father, the books would just be like, I don't know, a founding father, rapist, and slave owner. Thomas Jefferson was a jack of all trades. He was a triple threat, specifically to Sally Hemings. I did a lot of tours like throughout the city, but where I did most of my tours was at Ellis Island. And I don't know if you guys have ever wanted to have strangers yell their opinions about immigration at you every day, but it's always been my dream. And it was weird because what happens when you live in New York is whenever people come in from like the Midwest or whatever, they want to prove to you how progressive they are. You know, they want to like kind of try and fit in with the local scene. And so there would always be like a dad in like cargo shorts who would like stop me in the middle of the tour to try and like brag how, you know, left wing he was, you know, because he thinks Pete Buttigieg is cool or whatever. I'm like, he's barely even a Democrat. But so anyways, yeah, I got one guy who stopped me and he goes in the middle of the tour, he goes, "Yeah man, you know what? This is beautiful, this is such a cool space to be. I think immigration is so important in the American story. I actually think that anyone should be able to come into this country as long as they don't take a job that an American would want to do." And that was weird to me because I was like, I didn't realize we could just get mad at someone because they have a job that we want. Because I was a tour guide at the time, which meant I was mad at most people. I wasn't allowed to just freak out about where they were born. I never had to just be like, "Oh, these goddamn people from New Jersey, they're commuting into my city. They're taking all the temporary receptionist work. We gotta build a wall, block the Lincoln Tunnel." I understand now, like as an adult, like if I don't get a job, it has nothing to do with where the other person was born, okay? If I don't get a job, it's because I have the same name as a domestic terrorist. Probably the reason. I don't know. This is fun. I was going through suicide notes today, and I didn't use them. Good. I just think it's good to have one just in case. You know what I mean? Dude, you know what I'm talking about? Right? What if you found out that your parents were cousins? We're just going to keep going? No, you got to be ready. Okay, I feel like you guys aren't on board. Here's the deal. I just don't want to have to write that letter on like the day that it's due. You know what I mean? You're a confident guy. You don't want to have like a bad... You know? Like, remember in school we read a paper on the day it was due? It's not a good paper. Oh, my suicide note to just be like, "Webster's Dictionary defines suicide." The cops get there, they're like, "I think he copied this from a kid who killed himself last semester." I don't know, man. I've never killed myself. I'm not close, but I did call the suicide hotline one time. Nothing bad had happened. I just been through a breakup and wanted to talk to somebody who wasn't allowed to hang up on me. And, did you guys know when you call the suicide hotline, the first thing you hear is an automated message machine? It's like, "You've reached the National Suicide Hotline." That is the saddest thing you can hear. The only way that could be sadder is if it was just like a ringback tone of a Sarah McLachlan song, and then someone in the background being like, "Do it." Like, that's insane. I feel like when you call the fucking suicide hotline, they should be nice. Am I wrong? Somebody's like, they tell them to do it. I think they should treat you nice. I think they should treat you like a winner, you know? I think they should treat you like you're the winning caller in your favorite radio station. That's what they should do. You call up, they're just like, "Hey, you've reached the National Suicide Hotline, and you won 4 tickets to see Kanye West." But they're only valid if you stay alive. So take that this up from around your neck and replace it with this backstage pass. Then call up 3 of your friends who love and care about you. It would be so sad to live in a world without you. A world where they couldn't see Kanye West! Press 1 to claim your tickets, press 2 if you don't have enough friends to take advantage of it. And then you press 2, they just hook you up with somebody else who needs a friend. You know what I mean? Kind of bring people together. Join a group chat or whatever. I don't know, I think it's important to think out of the box about suicide. I know people don't like talking about it, it makes people uncomfortable. I think it's important to talk about suicide so that we can normalize the thoughts so that people can have these conversations, right? Because otherwise, we don't know what we're doing. Thank you. Okay, great. You guys might be on board for this then. So I waited on hold for 18 minutes to finally get somebody on the line, and they go, all right, what are you calling about? And I was like, really? I'm ordering Chinese. What do you think I'm doing? And he goes, okay, yeah. So do you have like a plan for how you're gonna hurt yourself? And I was like, no, I haven't thought it through. And he's like, all right, well, do you want to call back when you're a little further along? I didn't realize I was applying for a grant. I don't know, man. It's crazy to me. I think we gotta be more practical. Here's the problem with the suicide hotline. Here's what I really think is the problem. Is that the suicide hotline, it's a temporary measure, right? All it does is it gives you a reason to not die right then. But it doesn't give you like a reason to live. That's a long-term solution, right? It's a reason to live. So I think we should get rid of the suicide hotline. I think we should replace it with like suicide palm readers. Stay with me. Have you guys ever gotten your palm read? If you're ever lonely, it's $50. A gypsy will hold your hand for half an hour. But here's what I love about getting my palm read. If you get your palm read, they just give you like a riddle about you. That you just have to live and wait to see what the answer is. You can't solve it without time. You know what I mean? That's the best way to keep someone alive. Because I will tell you, the craziest reading I ever got, and it kept me alive just long enough to fall in love with somebody. She gave me this reading, which was a total lie. But here's what she said. She said, okay, Kevin. She's looking at my palm, you know, and I'm like, all right, feels good to have someone hold my hand. And she goes, it looks like in the next year, you're going to have a baby with a woman who you haven't met yet. And then a year later, you're going to get married to a girl who you already know, who's secretly in love with you, but hasn't said anything because you had a relationship with her sister in the past. And I'm just sitting there like this depressed little thought, like, are you telling me that I'm going to be the star of my own telenovela? Dos mujeres, un bebé y los hombres peligrosos. Este grano quiere decir amante prohibido. I've never dated with one woman and married another than 2 season finales. Exciting, man. I love that language, man. I love Spanish. Anybody speak Spanish? Yeah, alright, cool. A couple of woos, sit in one seat, cute. Like usually there's like one like wasted white girl who will be like, claro que sí. And then I'll try to talk to her in Spanish a little bit, and she'll be like, not really. I just did a semester abroad in Arizona. Like I don't really had tequila. I don't know, I love that class too, because I remember like in high school, that was my favorite class. You guys remember high school Spanish class? A high school Spanish class was the best, because it's just a regular preschool class. And then part of it is in Spanish. Right, you go in there and they're just singing at you the whole time. You're just like, buenos dias, buenos dias. Everyone, join in. No, thank you, senora. If I sing in front of the whole class, I'm going to get all embarrassada. Oh, that means pregnant? No, I think you're thinking of a woman I haven't met yet, It's weird, man. I always felt bad for Spanish teachers for like when they had to go to the faculty meetings and like explain their lesson plan after the real teachers. You know what I mean? Like they go in, and then, the principal or whatever is like, all right, we're going to go through what everyone's doing this week. He turns to like the history teacher, like, what are you guys studying? And the history teacher's like, states' rights or whatever. He's like, all right, good. And then he turns to the physics teacher, and the physics teacher's like, physics. I don't know examples, okay? But then he gets to the Spanish teacher, like, all right, what are you guys studying? And the Spanish teacher just got to be like, week we're working on identifying colors. Next week I was just going to wear a sombrero. So, I think one of the boys in my class is pregnant, by the way. I would like to be a Spanish teacher. It would be fun, man. Recently, last year I got a corporate job. I got a job in advertising. What happened is I got a degree in screenwriting because everyone told me that you should do what you love. So I got this degree, and then immediately after, I was like, no. And I just got a job that paid money instead. And it's weird, so now I had this corporate job for 12 months, and it's made me rethink things. I think it's weird because I went to the school, right, because I thought that people said you should do screenwriting because you should do what you love. And now after a year of having the job, it's like, I think that what I love is making money. It's fun to pursue a dream. It's not as fun as going to Mexico. Holy shit. And I have friends who are in LA trying to be screenwriters, and I talk to them, they're like, dude, I thought, why are you writing? I thought you wanted to be the next, write the next big TV show. And I was like, yeah, not as much as I want to be able to order an Uber when it's raining. Get your priorities straight, okay? It's weird because I spent all of these years in school studying stories. That's essentially what you do when you study writing. And I thought it was kind of a waste because I leave that and I just get this stupid advertising job, and it's like, I don't know why I spent all this time studying stories. I thought it was a waste of time. But today I had to sit through my fiance trying to tell a story. And I was like, you could have taken a class. But okay, I want to be clear. I think she's the most amazing woman in the world. I love my fiance very much, okay? She can do anything. She's got 2 master's degrees. She can tell you obscure facts about all the presidents. She knows about education policy. Dude, she knows the difference between Congress and the Senate. Talk about genius, okay? And I truly believe this woman could do anything in the world that she put her mind to. The one thing that she can't do is leave any detail out of the story. When you're watching TV and they do that video where they're like, last season on Westworld. If she was in charge of that, she'd just play the last season of Westworld. And then add director's commentary on a different show. It's true, she can't figure out what's important and what's not. That's the problem. She doesn't know how to clarify what's an important thing. Because we went to her mom's house recently, we were trying to clear out old stuff, and she had all of her textbooks from when my fiance was in high school. I opened one up, and she was one of those people who highlighted every word in the book. I opened it up, and on the cover page, she had highlighted the title, the author, and this is true, the illustrator. I didn't take AP Bio, but I know you didn't need to know that. There's no way you opened up the AP Bio test and it was like, question 1, who drew the diagram? I guess art's important though, I'm actually from a family of artists, okay? Here my siblings are actors, I'm a comedian, my sister has an Instagram, and it's weird, dude. It's a very good-looking family. When you're around artists, they're just hot people who are too confident because of it. You know what I mean? Everyone in my family is hot. You guys are getting uncomfortable, but let me tell you, you'd be more uncomfortable if you saw my brother's face, because you would be erect, okay? Here's how hot my brother is. My brother, he's an actor. He once cast the body double for James Franco in a TV show. Okay? And I just look like an Ed Sheeran die. That's not... We have the same parents, according to my mother. My brother's just too handsome. Here's how hot my brother is. My brother, he's a gay guy. He's had 5 boyfriends, and all of them were straight before. Yeah. People think being gay is a choice. It isn't. My brother decides for you. I was talking about going to his wedding. He got married a couple years to one of his converts, and I remember right before the wedding, my grandmother's very old. She couldn't come to town, so I went to her nursing home. Went to go have dinner with her. It was me and him, and she asked how my fiance, my girlfriend at the time, was doing. She showed my brother, and she asked how his friend was doing. And my brother said he's okay. And my grandmother goes, "What should I call him? I don't know what to call him." And my brother said, "Well, you can just say fiance. I'm gonna get married and be my husband, but whatever's comfortable for you." And what was the sweetest moment of my 85-year-old grandmother's life, she looked my brother in the eyes and she goes, "It's not about what's comfortable for me. It's about what's comfortable for you." Are we in the 3rd act of a Queer Eye episode right now? Promo, get in here. So this beautiful moment, right? So we get in the car, we're wiping back tears, we're driving back to the city, and we get this call from my mom, and she goes, "Guys, I just got off the phone with your grandmother. She had the best time with you two. She cannot wait to see you again and hopefully meet Will's playmate. He wasn't comfortable with that at all. He stopped the car on the highway, called her up, and was like, Grandma, we don't say playmate, okay? He is my leather daddy. Let's get it. Why does playmate feel so disgusting as a term? You know what I mean? Why does it feel, I feel like gross saying it. Do you know what I mean? Like, all these terms from our childhood have become like gross and sexualized, right? Bad boy, naughty girl, daddy's favorite. Spanking's like a sex thing. It's kind of punishment from childhood that's like made its way into the bedroom. Unless you have some fetish where you wear like a fucking dunce cap or whatever. I don't know. But I feel it's weird because I don't think people hit their kids much anymore, right? So like in 20 years, is that gonna have like an impact? You know? You're gonna be with a girl, she's gonna be like, I've been a naughty girl. You're like, oh yeah? Well then maybe you should take a time out, 20 minutes in your room, no computer! Then when you're ready to apologize, you can fuck me. So, I don't know, I hated it. My mom was one of those like very liberal white moms. You know what I'm talking about? Like a liberal white mom, like a liberal white mom, you know what I mean? She's a conservative, but she buys organic, so she thinks she's liberal. My mom thinks shopping at Whole Foods will fix income inequality. I'm like, I love my mom, man, but she is like a very performative about her liberalism. Like when my brother came out, she was so stoked, dude. She was so excited because it made her the most like diverse white mom. That was cool. So I'm one of 5 kids, okay? I have 2 sisters, 2 brothers. Both my brothers are gay. But growing up, my mom thought my little brother was transgender. And she wanted one of my sisters to be a lesbian. So badly! Because then she just had like a royal flush. Dude, she'd win every PTA meeting. Like, straight boy, gay boy. Straight girl, gay girl. And the rivers, one in transition. So suck it, Karen! I got on the bake sale, bitch! And take your heteronormative kids out of here. We're making rainbow cupcakes. That's my mom, man. She's like, her heart's always in a good place. You know what I mean? Like, she's an activist against domestic violence, you know? Because it's just what you do when your kids move out. You just find a cause that has never affected you and define yourself by it. I'm not saying you can't raise awareness if you're not a victim, okay? All I'm saying is that if you talk about domestic violence all the time, it doesn't make Dad look good. Dude, the issue she talks the most about is emotional abuse. You guys know what that is? Miss blink twice if he's doing it. And she closed her eyes fully and was like, get me out of here! He brought me to a basement of an Irish bar. There's cop car doors everywhere. Emotional abuse is where like somebody will isolate their partner from their friends, make them completely codependent. It's a messed up thing to do. But my mother, she uses the term too broadly. Do you know what I mean? Like I forgot to call her this week. She called me an hour before the show and she goes, hey Kev, you can't go a whole week without calling me. That is emotional abuse. No. That just means I didn't need money this week. Not emotional abuse, it's being 30, okay? I don't know, man. It drives me crazy, because she's the nicest woman. She's like, I love her so much, but she's one of those people who's like on the right side of the issues, but she doesn't know why. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, there's a fight she got with my dad over Thanksgiving, I remember. He's out of nowhere. We're just kind of like all hanging out, and she looks at my father, and she goes, hey, Phil, women can do anything men can do. And my dad was like, all right. And she goes, shut up! One glass of wine. You shut up! I said women can do anything men can do. Look at Amelia Earhart. I just tap in, be like, hey Mom, there's so many brilliant, talented, incredible women who can fly planes all the way there. There's so many. I thought we looked at your friend Linda. She's a pilot. Every time she lands a plane, it's on purpose. Every time you go up and you ask her to just something, you're like, can you show me your map? And then she just shows you a picture of a plane crashing. I don't know, I give her credit though because she does live with my dad. My dad, I don't want to say he's like a misogynist, but I'm going to say I don't want to say it and you guys can take from that what you will. My dad's one of those guys who like, he feels like he has to point out every time he sees a hot girl so that like you know that he knows what that looks like. You know, it's like, yeah, you have 5 kids, dude, we get it, you're straight, you know what I mean? Do you have friends like that, dude? Do you have friends like that who are like every time they see the girl like, yeah, it's a whole thing. My dad thinks he's so sneaky about it. That's just that he thinks that nobody can tell that he's doing it because he's got a code word. He's got a code word. He's very sneaky when it comes to hot girls. My dad has a code word for hot girls. He calls them Canadians. Super sneaky, you know. He'll be walking around. He'll be like, hey, check out the tits on that Canadian! And I remember the most embarrassing it ever was. One time I was like 17 and we were touring this college campus. We're walking around and there was a volleyball team working out on the quad. And I just feel my dad's elbow in my ribs. And he goes, pretty good Canadian population here, huh? But we're on a tour, so the tour guide hears him. And she turns back and she's like, is that something you're looking for? In an institution, and then there's just this one poor girl from Toronto on the tour, and she raises her hand and she goes, oh, I'm Canadian. And my dad goes, I don't think so. Super nice. My family's weird, man. Everyone in my family's scared of a different animal. I'm scared of dogs, my little brother's scared of squirrels, my little brother's scared of chickens. But none of us were ever attacked by those animals as kids. I think somebody just like, you know, like molested us to the tune of Old McDonald or whatever. I don't know, it's weird. I am scared of dogs. I'm scared, like, especially like big dogs, and I don't know why. I do not know why. I can't tell you why. But everyone I've ever met is certain they do know why. Like if you tell someone you're scared of dogs, they're like, well, probably as a kid, as a child, you were bit by a dog. Mystery solved. It's weird to me, right? We never did that with other fears. You know, like I have a friend who's scared of flying. I never go up to him like, oh, you're scared of flying? Probably as a child. You were bit by an airplane, so. Alright, so actually most airplanes are cute, dude, okay? Most airplanes aren't gonna bite you, so. Right. Felt like that tag would work and it didn't. I don't know, man. It's a weird thing, dude. It's hard. I don't like being scared of dogs. That's the thing. I tell people and they're like, you man, they think I'm Michael Vick or something. Like, I don't just like, it is so difficult to be scared of dogs. It ruins your life. Okay? Like, I think being scared of dogs is very similar to like having a gluten allergy. Because everyone just gets so mad at you for not being able to enjoy something you also wish you could enjoy. Yeah, I don't like that this makes me shit my pants either, dude. Challenge was what I was dealt, you know? My parents got a dog because they didn't want me to go home for Christmas, and unfortunately United doesn't refund tickets, so I had to go. And I got there, and my mom's dog followed me around the entire time I was there. Everywhere I went, he was like at my heels, he was like licking my leg, no matter where I went, the whole time I was there, the whole week. And the last day I was there, I wake up in my bed, and the dog is at the foot of my bed, which is weird because when I went to bed, the door was locked. I don't know what happened. And I wake up, and the dog looks at me, and he just starts barking at me. For like 20 minutes barking at me. Finally, I see my mom's car drive into the driveway outside. The dog goes down to greet her. I get in the shower, you know, I'm trying to like wash off the trauma. And I go downstairs, and I tell my mom what happened. I'm like, yeah, Mom, your dog was just barking at me for like 20 minutes. He was just barking at me like he was going to attack me. And she goes, Kevin, he was just playing with you. It's just play, okay? That's just play. And I was like, actually, Gretchen, that's emotional abuse. It's weird to me. I was visiting my parents. They live in Denver, right? And it's always weird for me when I go back to Denver because when I was a kid, I thought I hated that city. Like, I thought I hated Denver. And now I think I realize that I didn't hate Denver. I just hated childhood. And I was sitting with a friend, and I was like, yeah, man, I hate being back here. I said, why do you hate Denver? He was like, why do you hate Denver? What do you don't like about Denver? And I was like, come on, man, you know Denver. You know how, like, whenever you're in Denver, your mom makes you pick your socks up off the floor. You know, Denver's a stupid city. You know, no matter where you're standing in the city of Denver, it always just feels like you're living in your brother's shadow. Like, This fucking town, man. I've never been homesick. I've never had like that homesick feeling. My siblings would go back home and they're like, oh my God, I'm so glad we're back in Denver. I was homesick. Hey, what are you talking? You're an adult. I've never understood that emotion in my entire life. I remember when I was like a kid and I saw The Wizard of Oz. You guys remember that thing when like Dorothy goes through like the whole twister, she wakes up, colors now exist. The whole town is like praising her as a war hero for killing the witch. They're like singing a song about her and she's like, I have to find a way home. Why? Stick around. That you made friends, you got to try acid, you got away with murder. Let's love the wizard, make out with a munchkin, live. The whole time, the whole movie, all she's worried about is getting home. I gotta get home. And then she finally gets there at the end, like, oh, we actually got you these magical shoes that'll take you anywhere you want to go. And she's like, Topeka. That's insane. If I had those shoes, I would just be like, there's no place like a sandals all-inclusive resort in Jamaica. There's no beach. I don't know, it's weird because I never really felt that strong affiliation with Denver, but I've lived in DC for a while now, and I like this town, man. And it's cool, I feel good now that I have a job here, because when you don't have a good job and you live in DC, fucking feels like shit every day, dude. Like, I don't know, I used to feel so bad all the time. Like, I would get on the train, this is true, like right before the pandemic, I didn't have a good job, I was just sitting there, I was on the train, I was going to work or whatever, and these two guys get on, and I'm wearing my like fucking shirt from the place where I was serving lobster rolls. It's just covered in seafood. And they get on and they're wearing suits. But get this, they were my age. Bro, that's bullying, okay? So I'm sitting there, just kind of eavesdropping, trying to figure out where I can also become one of the Brooks brothers. And I'm listening, and one of these guys in the suit starts explaining to the other one why a $15 minimum wage is bad. He was like, it's a tax on small companies. And then he just started using words I'd never heard before, like profit. And I looked down, and this guy in his like fucking Brooks Brothers suit, his fly was down. My turn to be the bully. So I sit there, right, and I wait for 7 stops. We get to my stop, I stand up, and I tap this guy on the shoulder, and I go, hey, buddy? Yeah, when you're done explaining why the working class doesn't deserve a living wage, your fly's down. And then I turned, and the doors didn't open. So I'm just like shaking. And I see a fucking cufflink. And I feel a finger on my shoulder. And I look back, and the guy goes, hey, buddy, when you're done trembling like a coward, your fly is down, and it was, so I zipped up, we got 5. And, he offered me a job, it was $14 an hour, but I took it. I don't know, man, DC is such an interesting city, man. There's just so many weird quirks about this. Like, I feel like the city, everyone prides themselves on being liberal, or they hide how they really feel. And the thing that's weird is all my friends, like, take, like, all this pride, sometimes they lose what the actual message of what they're trying to do is. You know what I mean? Like, all my friends like to brag about how pro-choice they are, and it's like, yeah, you are. Unless the choice is to have a baby, and then you seem to be against it. Do you know what I mean? Like in the South, like the woman's going to the clinic, making what could be like one of the toughest decisions you have to make in your life. People are like, I don't know the Bible. I don't know what it is. In DC, if a woman's about to go into labor, people are like, I don't know anything about your career. They just have like posters of dead careers. Abandoned pantsuits. 401ks with a frowny face where he was supposed to be. The life begins at LinkedIn! You guys probably have gotten this from my general education. I've been to a psych ward before. And if you don't know, when you go to a psych ward, the first thing that happens is they put you in a wheelchair, just regardless of how good your legs are. They're like, I know you're at the lowest point in your life, but could you be lower? By the way, if you go to a psych ward on the weekend, the good doctors aren't there, right? Because if you go to a psych ward, specifically Georgetown Psychiatric, floor 3. On the weekends, the good doctors, they work hard. They don't have to work on the weekends, so they bring in just like guests of the psych ward. Like friends of the psych ward who are not doctors. So I swear, the day I was there, they had a religious counselor. in what was supposed to be a hospital. And this guy, you know, I guess his whole thing was like he was supposed to be like half priest, half rabbi, and then he said he knew other stuff, but I quizzed him on Scientology, he didn't know anything. And, so I sat down to talk to this guy, you know, they'd already taken my shoelaces, I didn't have anything else to do, and I'm talking to this guy, and what he does, he takes out a puzzle, he has this big puzzle, and he takes it out, he pours it on the table, and he goes, all right, Kev, your life right now is a lot like this puzzle. Because at this moment, it's a mess. But with faith and dedication, it can become something beautiful. So I'm like, all right. I sit there, I spend these hours just putting together these puzzle pieces, right? I put it all together, I have faith in myself, I dedicate myself to this puzzle, I get all these things together, I put together these mismatched objects, and I finally, you know, get to the end, and I look down, and I realize something. And I look up, and I go, hey, Father, Rabbi, Your Honor, your metaphor for my life is missing a piece. And he just smirks at me and he goes, exactly. And I was like, are you gonna fucking tell me what it is? And he goes, the real doctors will be in on Monday. And then he just like walked through a wall and made it back. I don't know what kind of drug they had me on. I think it was a made-up guy. I don't know, the reason I went is I have bipolar disorder, which is actually very fun, you know, about half the time. And here's the thing, man. You know, the bipolar disorder, what happens, right? I have bipolar too, so what happens, sometimes I get sad, you know, periods of sadness, depression, whatever. And other times I get hypomanic, my head will go like a million miles a second. I'll talk really fast, usually my stand-up. And what happens when I get hypomanic is I get very irritable. I can just like fly off the handle at a moment's notice at anybody. I can just like be very mean to people who don't deserve it, and I don't like that about me. That's the opposite of who I try and conduct myself as, right? So I have to try and hide these bad moments from people. I don't want anybody to find out my secret. I'm like a werewolf, you know what I mean? I'm just like, hide it. That's an analogy that could be funnier. And so I don't know, it's weird because I have to try and hide these moments that I have, and I have all these friends who are comics who they're so worried that someone's going to find one of their old tweets. And I'm like way more worried that someone's going to find one of my old calls that was recorded for quality assurance. Like, I'm pretty sure the last time I talked to my cable company, I just accused them of planning 9/11. And then before they could say anything, I was like, oh, wait, never mind, that would have required showing up on time. They're going to be you. So sorry. It wasn't a long window. I don't know, man. That's the thing, I just fly off the handle of people. It's bad because I live here, I live right near here, I live by Union Station. So I used to deal with like groups of people that just have never walked together before. You ever had that with somebody in your way when you're walking, there's like a group of people and they're just all, like they're filming the beginning of a fucking detective show, they're like next to each other. And you're trying to get around them, but they take over the whole sidewalk, and you can't, and all you want to do is yell at them. You know that feeling when all you want to do is yell at these fucking strangers in your way? So you know when you get that feeling and you want to yell at them? So what I do is I do. I'll just be like, we should take a little sidewalk! Oh, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna stand side by side. No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was in the presence of the goddamn Rockettes. I'll kick over one of their kids. And I remember when I found out I was bipolar, and I was like, here's my free pass. And I turned to my doctor, and I was like, Doc, are you telling me that the reason I'm a dick is because I'm bipolar? And I'll never forget what he said. He looks at me and he goes, actually, that is not a part of this at all. You can't keep kids, dude, that's illegal. I don't know, man. It's a weird thing because it's like, you know, it's tough to have this bipolar because you gotta kind of compartmentalize in your life. It's nice to do stand-up, you can just talk about being fucked up in the head and people are like, all right, whatever. But I have this real job now, and I remember when I got the job last year, they gave you these forms to fill out for like ADA accessibility. You guys know what I'm talking about? Where it's like for any accommodations you might need. So they list all these disabilities, say you know you need a wheelchair or whatever. And one of the disabilities they list is bipolar disorder. And I was like, nice try. I'm not going to tell my boss that I've been medically diagnosed as difficult to work with. Like, also, the whole point of the form, right, is to figure out the accommodation you're going to need. I don't want to have that conversation with HR. They come in like, hey, we saw you marked off that you're bipolar. Is there anything you're going to need from us? And I'm just like, Forgiveness?